we all agree now, at least on this panel, we need the galaxy. And we all know why we need the galaxy also. But what is that need to be done? We also a little bit touched upon the challenges. In particular, I want you to know, each one of you, I would like to hear from you about the land that needs to be yet purchased. What are your thoughts on that? The DDPs that needs to be made. You are an integral part of ATDC right now. What is your thought on that? And third aspect is, how do we ensure the green belt is secured? Yeah.
I strongly believe that we have to work on funding on a totally different level than we have been doing. No, and we have in the group which is working on funding, we have been having discussions, but we are still not able to land this. You have also been sitting as part of this, no? So you know well. So I do believe that we have to, because for the maintenance of the city, okay, for the residents and all this has to come from our business side. This has to come from our economy. But the building of the city has to come very largely from outside. And I personally think that it is not a difficult thing if we are doing the work that we are doing. We had once a small conversation with Monica Sharma on this, how to do, and she said, you invite people to build the future. The money will come. You make them co-creators in building the future. And I think that is we have to do this work. I don't think it's anymore about this small movement from place to place. I think we need to create a very solid institution that can hold money and move money. And I think that we have, because we have been doing research on this already. So there are a few concepts which are there. And I think that when we come together and create this, I think we can do this. And meanwhile, we go on working with the government, doing fundraising, like Tuan is doing a lot now. So that will be ongoing. And I think we will have to keep on finding funds for the land as long as it is not all secured. And meanwhile, we try to keep it protected. But we have to still have that very, very long-term vision, like Acres for All will have, to simply year by year go on and raise funds and buy whatever is available, no? Because that is the most secure. And also because we have been very clearly told that it doesn't belong to anybody particular, but to humanity as a whole. And then we need to buy it free. And we need to, for me always I feel we need to buy it out of bondage, out of exploitation, etc., no? To secure it for its own sake of the Mother Earth.
So you mentioned about being useful in the city. It seems you need to add one more phrase to that. Being resourceful also is necessary right now, it seems.
Oh yes, oh yes. We are, I mean, right now we are very much kind of leaning on the government because they're coming forward. But you know, we have to really develop very widely because we need to get the mobility in place. That's a key thing right now. Which is, these are all change makers, no?
Yeah.
We need to get the activity of the crown.
Yeah.
We need to get the vocational training and the schools in places, no? And I would say about this DDP thing, because, you know, I'm certainly not an expert in those fields, but I've been sitting with Neil, and when I saw what he, because I have been very much pushing on this thing that we can't go on building the way we have been doing, with just these houses, flats. You know, it is, we need to build infrastructure, we need to build collectivity, okay? And collectivity needs certain ways of spacing. And then one day I came to Neil and I saw that he had done exactly this. He has taken up the master plan as it looks in Roger's drawings. And suddenly, instead of kind of thinking about the new squiggles, to put, he was actually using what was there, and he was looking at it from those angles of all these discussions we had. And it was amazing because, yes, it is all right there. And we also, suddenly, because we were looking for something, and then we took out some of all these drawings from Auroville. And suddenly it was like the patterns are so much more creative, but they're holding all these things which we are talking about are right there. Roger has made drawings which are full of collectivity and spacing, but in a so much more creative way than I or or you can figure out. No, it was really super inspiring. So I think that the DDP is much faster with this because actually we have so much material which can very easily be used. We don't need to reinvent the wheel on this one. I think that is the kind of surprise finding which going into a lot of material, not only from Rocher, but what has been all the researches which has been done in L'Avenir over all these years, which we kind of, as just looking at it, have seen go into cupboards. Yep. And into, wherever, that is coming out, and there is so much that can be used. So I think that the work is really happening.
One more small question. You have been here since 70s, and you have been also associated with fundraising and such work. In our community, it seems, often when people ask me, what do you do? I say, I do communication work. And what do you do? Real work, It seems in our community, there is much emphasis on bricklaying, on gardening, on physical work. There is much appreciation for it, and far less for people like me whom they think I'm just in front of computer and doing, easy stuff. Whereas I don't get to see my kids for a while. That's something which people do not understand, that this also is a hard work. And in this case, do you think this contribution towards the city, the galaxy, will not only come from people who manifested through brick and mortar, but also has to come through communicators, through fundraisers, through designers, through artists, so various other fields which is not conventional hard work?
You see, this is very, very obvious, and it's very interesting to see now, because I have for myself been watching over the years how we, for example, neglect business. We see it as a necessary evil, sort of. Okay, I'm putting it very roughly now. Right. But it has basically been treated in a very stepmotherly way. We need it and we want the money, but we are not supporting it. Okay, so now there is an attention which is going to the industrial zone. It has to be developed. It's a priority. But not only that, we're also actually starting to look. For me, that has been an eye-opener. How are we using our land? Why are we, for example, in Kulapalayam and other places, using roadside land for private spaces, and then our businesses are renting houses from villages or buildings to use? We have to be very proactive on raising funds for maintaining Auroville, because we need to shift our economy. We see that a lot of the outcomes we have presently of what can be called mismanagement, wrong actions like that, is because the actual need for funds. Right. Okay, and we see that we have a lot of the present system we have is extremely unfair and extremely unsustainable. So to do this system, we need to be proactive and really support, because business is a capacity. Communication, we are lacking communication like anything. Okay, so people are asking all the time, why you're not communicating? Because we are very busy working, but we need communicators. Since many years we know it's a very important field. We never managed to satisfy it because we always put that other side first, out of necessity also. Yep. So I think that what we are looking at in the present development, every part which is coming in place is fostering integrally the whole this time.
Right.
And it has to be, it's our chance to really do it in such a way that we are shifting the consciousness with it also. That goes, it's totally one, no?
Thank you, Jaya. Yeah. Srivat.